A wealthy businessman once received an offer most people would never forget: a brand new luxury car. Not a discount, not a lease. The car was going to be given to him, completely free of charge. It was a Rolls-Royce, and it had been ordered specially for him. The exterior color was chosen to his taste, the interior meticulously matched to his preferences. It was the ultimate status symbol, handed over on a silver platter. Most people would dream about the moment that car finally arrived. This businessman, who we'll call Mr. Allen, imagined something else: a problem. On weekends, he liked to throw his gear into the back of a car and go fishing. He liked inexpensive restaurants. He parked in an old industrial area for work. So he said no. He rejected the custom Rolls and kept his 4-year-old, totally ordinary American sedan. When you hear a story like that, it's easy to assume Mr. Allen is simply obsessed with hoarding pennies. There is a very popular idea that millionaires build their net worth by squeezing every possible mile out of an aging Toyota, while everyone else finances a Mercedes. But the data shows something different. When researcher Thomas Stanley surveyed millionaires, he found they were not overwhelmingly people who refused to buy new cars. In fact, for every millionaire who tended to buy used, roughly 2 tended to buy new. Only about 23% owned the current model year vehicle. The difference was what they did afterward. They kept them. These wealthy car buyers demonstrate a complete lack of psychological pressure to constantly upgrade. Every car performs 2 completely different jobs at the exact same time. The first job is obvious. It moves you from A to B. The second job has almost nothing to do with transportation. A car tells a public story. It sits in traffic, it parks in the driveway, and it communicates to your neighbors, coworkers, and strangers that you are successful, sophisticated, or powerful. Let's look at 2 hypothetical 35-year-olds, Chris and David. Both earn $140,000 a year. Both just received a major promotion at work. Chris decides to celebrate by replacing his perfectly functional 6-year-old car with a new $55,000 vehicle, financing the purchase. David considers doing the exact same thing, but his current car still works, so he decides to keep it. If you saw them pull into the office parking lot the next morning, you would probably assume Chris is doing much better financially. David gets into the same car he was driving before the promotion. But the parking lot is an illusion. It only shows you consumption. Because nobody can see your emergency fund or your index funds while you sit at a red light, a strange financial asymmetry occurs. The behavior that makes you look financially successful actively competes with the behavior that actually makes you financially independent. Even if a car is perfectly functional, sitting completely motionless in a garage, a hidden financial force is quietly destroying wealth. This chart is based on a 2025 AAA analysis of new vehicle ownership costs. It shows that the largest single ownership cost is depreciation, which silently subtracts over $4,300 a year. When you combine that with the current reality of car loans, the math gets restrictive. According to Experian data, the average monthly payment was $770. The average loan term approached 70 months. Buyers are committing nearly 6 years of their future income before they even drive off the dealership lot. And this is where lifestyle inflation triggers a permanent trap. The loan finally ends, the dealership sends an email offering a trade-in, and the clock resets. New depreciation. New payment. The true financial weight of luxury is how it permanently increases the minimum money your life requires every month. The vehicle becomes a subscription. Curious? Try applying a simple psychological filter to your next purchase. Imagine buying your absolute dream car, but with one condition: absolutely no one you know is allowed to see it. If another person is nearby, the car becomes invisible. Would you still pay exactly the same amount for it? If your willingness to pay drops, you've discovered a price tag largely intended for the audience. Researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas found evidence that vehicle prestige often operates through this exact mechanism, where visible consumption actively influences what peers want to consume. This understanding shifts the meaning of wealth. At lower levels of financial security, wealth represents purchasing power, the capacity to buy more things. But eventually, it shifts to optionality, the power to make choices without money dictating the answer for you. Because David kept his old car and avoided that $770 monthly payment, His unimpressive vehicle gives him something a new car cannot: time. If he loses his job, he has the flexibility to wait out a recession, accept a lower-paying role he actually enjoys, or simply walk away from a terrible boss. Which brings us back to Mr. Allen and his free Rolls-Royce. He didn't reject the car because he hated money. He rejected it because the supposedly superior object was an obligation. It would dictate where he could park, change how his employees viewed him, and force him to rearrange his ordinary weekend life just to protect a status symbol. By prioritizing financial margin over a recurring monthly subscription to status, an owner gains the ability to look at a bespoke luxury vehicle and realize that owning it would actually diminish their quality of life. The greatest utility of money is the freedom to ignore the things you don't actually need.